Hey everyone, this is Angela at Bake It with Love, and today we're making our quick French bread from scratch. And this is really a lifesaver when you are about to make something and you just like dawns on you that you have to have bread with it that night. It's a perfect way to make a perfect dinner. It's really easy. Water, yeast. We'll add some salt and olive oil before we add our flour here momentarily, but we are going to add the yeast to our water as well as some sugar, and we're going to let that activate for about 10 minutes and then we'll come back to it. Now when you come back to your yeast, it should be good and frothy. If it's not frothy, then the yeast hasn't activated. Either the yeast may be old or the water wasn't the right temperature. Something didn't go right, so you'll need to start over at this point, which you're not that far in, you'll be fine. We're going to add, you saw, some salt and a little bit of olive oil there, and we're going to add about half our flour to 3 cups to begin with. I use my normal mixing attachment on the stand mixer. To start out with. You can start just straight away with your dough hook. That's up to you. That works too, because I'll be switching to it here in just a moment. I'm switching over to my dough hook now, and I'm going to add the rest of the flour, up to 5 cups of flour. So if you started with half, it's 2 1/2. If you started with 3, then you got 2 more to go. I'm going to add that in and get it mixed until all the flour is incorporated, and then I'll start kneading it. And by hand, I knead it for 8 to 10 minutes. In the stand mixer like this, what I like to do is knead it for a few minutes, cover it with a damp towel, warm damp towel, and then knead it for an additional 4 to 5 minutes. So you do like 2 to 3 and then 4 to 5 when you come back to it. It lets the glutens really activate, but you can skip that step too and just go ahead and set it on knead and let it do its thing for the full 8 minutes in the stand mixer. I'm going to transfer it to a really well-oiled bowl of olive oil, because that's what I used in the dough. And when I put it in the bowl, I flip it so that it's coated on all sides with the olive oil. I'm transferring it out here to my well-floured work surface. I saved a half a cup of flour on top of the 5 cups I used for the dough. I had a half cup ready for my work surface. I'm going to knead it by hand here just for a few minutes to get a nice ball formed and to make sure that my surfaces are all nice and elastic. It does need to pass like that window pane test, where if you stretch it, you should be able to see through it, and what it is that when you get it stretched to the point that you can see through it, it's not breaking apart. It needs to be able to stretch to that point and still hold its elasticity. Okay, going back a bit here, when I put my dough in the bowl that I had lined with olive oil, I rolled it in there to cover it completely, but then I covered it with the same kitchen towel that I used to cover it earlier. I got it warm, covered the bowl. You can use plastic wrap, but oil the underside so that when the dough rises and touches it, it won't stick. I let mine rise for about an hour, but your temperature that day, your humidity that day, all that can affect your rise time. It needs to be about doubled. And then I didn't punch this down either when I rolled it out onto my work surface. So I want it nice and airy and bubbly inside, so I didn't punch it down at all. And I shaped it. I cut it into 1 loaf and 2 baguettes. You make 2 loaves normally, or bowls, or as many baguettes, 4. You can even make rolls. That all works. It's just up to you what you want to make that day, and divide your dough evenly as much as possible, and then shape it. I've shaped mine, and I covered it, and I let it rise again until it doubled after slicing my vertical slits into it. And now I'm getting the oven ready to bake it at 375 degrees. Now I'm going to bake my bread for 30 minutes, or until the internal temperature is 205 degrees Fahrenheit. You can also tap on it. It should have kind of a hollow sound. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure and give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We have a lot rolling out. And anyway, enjoy your day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.